Hello, so today we are going to look at Ruby's flat map. And so flat map returns a new array with the concatenated result of running block once for every element. And so it runs the block once for every element, and if no block is given, it just returns a numerator. So let's just see. So for example, here we give it an array, and we want to return for each element a list of the element positive and then negative. And so for 1 it would be 1 and minus 1, for 2 it would be 2 and minus 2, and for 3 it would be 3 and minus 3. And then flat mapping means that for each element we get a list, right? So we will apply this function, so that's the map part, and then we will concatenate these lists. And so that's the flattened part. The flat part here represents flatten in a way. And so we'll end up with a list like this. So if I just run this here, you can see we got 1 and minus 1, 2 and minus 2, 3 and minus 3, 4 and minus 4, and then we concatenated everything, right? If we look here at another example, let me first just do a map and so you can see how it compares to map. So if I go here and instead of doing a flat map, I just do map, you can see I get these as lists, and the flat part here in flat map just flatten them out, right? And so if I take a look at another example here, this list where we are, for each list we are adding 100, the element 100, because in a list we can say 1 plus 100, I didn't close this, so we could do list 1 plus 100, list 100, and we get the two together, right? So we are doing a similar thing here, and so each list gets added 100, and then we flatten the entire thing. So you get 1, 2 from this list with plus 100, and then 3, 4 from this list plus 100. If we do a map, we will get a list here and then a list here for both, right? And so let's look again here at using a map. So so using a map is, as I said here, right? So kind of, if we look here and just use the same map, but just add flatten, you can see now we have the same result as using flat map, right? So in a way, taking a list and flat mapping it with some block is almost like taking the list and mapping it with the same block and then calling flatten, make it like this. So basically this here is equivalent to doing this, right? So this is convenient, more convenient, right? Let's take another a bigger example here. So let's say we have a blog application and we want to find the authors of comments left on a post in that blog that by a set of users, and let's say we have the IDs of these users. And so we get the IDs, we find them in the user class here, model, and then we map for each user. We'll look for the post of that user, and then since we are looking for the comments on these posts, we look for the comments in each post, and then for each comment we'll look for the author. And so we get a list here, and then we get another list per post, and then we get a list of those lists per user, right? And so we get something nested like this, right? So let's say for the first user we have these authors that commented on one post, and then this one that commented on another post, and so for that user we get this list. And then for, let's say, the other user, maybe we didn't get anything, and maybe the user didn't have a name in the database. And then for the next user, let's say we had one post that had one user, and then the other post one comment by this user, and then the other post didn't have any comments. So you can see it's very nested, and like it doesn't tell us the information directly, because the information we are looking for is just George, Alex, David, Keith, Chris in one list, right? And so we could do that manually using a flat, because as I said here, we could use map and then flatten. And so we take just this, but the same, similar to this, but we just flatten each one of them at the end. So we flatten here, and then we flatten the result of this map, and then we flatten this result of this map. And so we'll get this in one list, not nested. But instead of doing this, it's harder to read, right? With these flattens at the end. And so we could just replace these maps here with flat map, and we'll get the same result, right? So just do flat map here for the post, and flat map for the comment, and all these nested lists for each will be combined in one single list, right? Yeah, so this is how flat map works. Yeah, see